Hello, welcome to Live Fridays with me, Jessica from Jessica Dawn Coaching. So nice to be here to see you again. Today's conversation is all about this week's subject, which was overgiving and self-sacrifice. So I hope that the posts that you've been reading have been helpful or that they've resonated. I've been covering a lot about, what is overgiving? How can you tell if you're an overgiver? I think that a lot more women resonated with this than men, but it's not exclusive to women, much like I've mentioned in the past, or I should say, women or feminine energied people. So some of the things that I covered is, how can you tell if you're an overgiver or if you just like to be generous, right? So some of the things that I encourage people to consider is, do you feel guilty when you prioritize your needs over others? Do you feel like you've got this emotional void that you're just trying to fill? Do you not take care of yourself? Do you lack time and resources? Do you feel like you're completely depleted when you are giving to others? When you are giving to others, does it feel genuine, like from the heart, or does it feel like an obligation? Do you know how to tell the difference? There is a difference. Do the people around you feel entitled? Are they so accustomed to you being so available to them that it is just something that's like, yeah, that's part of who you are. It's a part of your identity. Okay, this is a tough one, but do you say yes to everything? Even when you feel like the time that it's appropriate to say no. Like if you're like, I don't really want to do this thing, but I have to say yes. Look at your relationships. Is there reciprocity? Do you feel like you give more than you receive? Those are all indicators that you are overgiving, right? So the first thing to look at is why. What prompts you to overgive? A lot of us are trained, we're raised to be very giving people, to be generous. It can become a codependent thing. It's like, well, if you notice yourself wanting to be needed because that gives you a charge of some sort, that can be an indication of codependency. Again, I'm like, all of this is very high level. It's, I'm giving kind of bullet points of it, and there are a lot more intricacies, but for the purposes of this, just touching on some of these, start to notice, what it is in you, like what gets the reward when you are giving of yourself, and what is the end result. If you're rewarded but you still feel depleted, then that is an indication that there's a lack of balance. A book that I recommend to most of my clients that are just indicating that they have codependent behaviors is Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. Fantastic book. It can be life-changing for a lot of people. It is a way of reclaiming your identity instead of wrapping your own identity in others' needs, which is something that happens with codependence. And so with that, okay, like I'm codependent, I'm overgiving, I self-sacrifice to a detriment. Now what? What do I do now? How do I stop this? And again, I'm gonna give you really high level stuff if this is happening for you. And I would recommend, if you do notice this within yourself and you're like, wow, I really want to look at this more, please reach out to me. And this is something that I love to explore with the people that I work with, to find out, like where those seeds of overgiving and self-sacrifice were planted in, whether it's generational or something that you learned as a teen, what the reward center was, or what that behavior, what that protection was. Sometimes it can be protection to give, right? You can alleviate the pain that you're receiving from others if you're super empathic and empathetic. And you're like, okay, if I just give more of myself, this is going to fix their pain, and then I won't feel their pain anymore, right? So looking at where your hierarchy of needs is in relation to others, super important. So the first thing I always say is learn about boundaries. You know, how do I set boundaries? I mean, that can be really complicated. That in and of itself can be really triggering. But setting boundaries, there's a difference between having clear boundaries, which is like, this is what's okay for me, this is what's not, and then building walls to keep other people out. Boundaries aren't meant to keep people out. They're meant to let people know what's okay with you and what's not. So when you identify those physical, emotional limits, it helps you discern, like, at what point do you start becoming drained? So this helps you identify, like, okay, if I go beyond this point, I'm going to be draining myself. I'm going to be depleting myself. You know, when you feel hurt, when you feel stressed, resentful, or angry when you're helping others, that's a pretty clear indicator that you're not doing it in a way that's nourishing for you. It's an indicator that you're shifting into self-sacrifice in a way that is not, you know, purely intended. And that's not to say that you're bad or anything like that, never ever, but you know, this is a place where you can become aware, more aware. You know, so many people have a hard time prioritizing their own needs and desires. It's like, you know, am I allowed to say that this is what I want? Yes. It feels good to help people that you love, but if it's at the expense of yourself and your health, you know, mental, physical, and emotional health, your needs are more important than that. And, you know, this goes in the face of a lot that has been taught in, you know, the spiritual community, even religious communities. It's like, oh, always be serving, be of service, be of service, be of service. But if you have nothing left, you can't be of service ever again, right? So my challenge for everyone is always, you know, put yourself at the top of the priority list. Oh, but I've got kids, or, you know, oh, but my partner needs this. Yeah. And how good are you going to be overall if your tank is empty, right? If you've just given everything of yourself, you know, that whole, you can't pour from an empty cup, it's really applicable. And if you base your identity on others needing you, then that is codependence, and you're creating a dependency on you, right? So you can stop enabling that dependency because it starts to create a pattern of being taken advantage of, right? And you may start to notice, like, wow, I'm feeling, you know, if you start to notice resentfulness, is that a word, resentfulness? Or find yourself being resentful, that's an indicator that you are being taken advantage of. But for the most part, you know, if it happens repeatedly, then you are making space for yourself to be taken advantage of. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, 3 times, 4 times, well, shame on me, right? It's the tiger that doesn't change their stripes. So learning to say no is the simplest way to address this. No is that complete sentence. Setting boundaries makes more space for you, makes more space for your soul, for your spirit, for your creativity. It makes more space for so much within you to blossom. And when you have more space, then it actually makes more space for you to then be of service, to be helpful, and giving in a way that is not depleting, right? And shifting into that more altruistic and nourishing generosity. So I hope, nice Freudian slip there. I hope that this has been helpful. You know, a lot of this I covered in my blog that was published this week. If you want to receive that, go ahead and sign up for my newsletter. I send one out every week. I don't spam you. It's just, you know, if you're interested, you can click on to read more, and I'll let you know of any other things that are going on. Otherwise, you know, it's completely up to you. We'll pop the link in the bottom for you to sign up if you're interested, or if you haven't signed up. And if you're watching this on Instagram, you can sign up for the newsletter by going to the link in my bio, and it's under free gift. If you sign up there, you can download my special meditation that is designed to just kind of ground you and help you chill out. I want to wish you a fabulous weekend, or, whatever day of the week that you're watching this week. Have a fabulous day, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.